Live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida. It's time for the middle of a three-game set here in the Southwestern Athletic Conference between the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the Jackson State Tigers. Bethune-Cookman took last night's contest 6-2. They're looking to wrap up another series win, which would be their third in a row in SWAC play. My name is Michael Travello. Happy to have your company. Bryce Wojnowski joins me at the broadcast table as well. Bryce, it's another chance to win a series and a chance to keep that perfect conference record going in terms of series as well.
And a big one for head coach Jonathan Hernandez, looking for number 100 in his career with Bethune-Cookman, in his career as a head coach. So that'll carry a little extra weight for the Wildcats manager. But absolutely, this is a winnable game, as we saw last night. You saw the Friday night arm for Jackson State put up a solid effort, but the Wildcats bats did what we've seen them do a handful of times this season, which is come alive early and kind of fade away, get a little complacent. Complacency is a bad way to continue a weekend, so you want to eliminate that, come out, go for the kill, go for the series win, and take one you should have tonight.
And despite the win yesterday and the mostly dominant performance, this is a very dangerous Jackson State team, 20-9 on the year, 5-4 in SWAC play, and are coming off of a sweep at the hands of Florida A&M last weekend. Wildcats need to keep winning if they want to keep the Rattlers in their rearview mirror. They only have a one-game lead at the top of the SWAC East right now. As Jordan McGladdy, the right fielder, stands into the left-handed batter's box to face the starting pitcher tonight for the Cats, Marcos Gamboa, and he deals the first pitch. The righty outside, the lefty 1-0. Starting lineups are identical for both teams tonight besides the starting pitchers. Gamboa in the dirt, ball 2. It'll be McGladdy, Hibbler, Montesano, Tate, Cabeza, Eichelberger, Standifer, White, and Alvarez for Jackson State. Pitch fouled away left-hand side, and it's 2-1. For Bethune-Cookman, Figueroa, Chun, Rivera, Gonzalez, Sufrain, Rodriguez, Gonzalez-Febo, Cordova, and Olson. That one is lined to the right field. There's a base hit. And the exact same start to the game as they had yesterday, a first inning single for the Tigers.
And we talked about it a little bit last night, Mike, the difference in the pitching staff of this Wildcats team when runners are not on base versus when guys are on base. So we're going to get a quick look here at what Marcos Gamboa, how he's going to handle guys on the base pass early.
Here's Rodney Hibbler Jr., and here's something we saw a lot yesterday, Bryce. They check over to first to try and keep McGladdy from stealing. He's got 19 stolen bases on 21 attempts this season. And the first pitch is a bunt down the first base line. Charging is Gamboa. He will throw out Hibbler, but the sac bunt does the job, moving McGladdy over to second.
Jackson State looking to create some early offense, manufacture some runs after they were so hard to come by, especially early in the game. Got to try to do your best to minimize damage, keep them from taking some early momentum here.
Here is Lenny Montesano, who yesterday had the biggest moment at the plate for Jackson State, hit a ground rule double to deep left center field in the first. We thought it might have been a home run. There's a strike. And it's 0-1. Montesano on the year batting .324. Part of a Jackson State Tigers lineup that has 5 hitters batting over .300 in the starting 9. Pitch. Fastball missed it inside from Gamboa, 1-1. Gamboa, the junior out of Fort Pierce, riding a .395 ERA on the year. He deals. String and a miss. Fastball in on the hands, and it's 1-2. We saw this a lot last night from Boca Bello. The Wildcats pitchers attacking the righties of Jackson State in on the hands. Gamboa shakes off a pitch. McGladdy leads off a second, one down here, top of the first. Swung on and grounded through the left side. There's a base hit. McGladdy is going to hold at third as a nice throw from Garrett Chun keeps him there, but it's 2 out of 3 singles for Jackson State to begin the game. And there's runners at the corners with 1 down for Robert Tate Jr.
Really a tough break for Jackson State there. The ball was hit a little too hard, so the runner was not able to come around and score. A little too much pace on it. Garrett Chun tracks it down quickly, and so they stranded the two guys in the corners, at least for now.
So here's Tate batting a team best 354. Correction, second best 354. Eichelberger has 374. We'll see him later. Runners on the corners with one down. He squares to bunt, pops it foul. That was a curveball by Gamboa, and Tate had to leave his bat over the plate for a long time to make contact with that one.
Ocabella last night did a lot of damage with the breaking ball. Only later in the game did he rely more on the fastball.
Runners on the corners 0-1 is a fastball, missed it outside. And it's 1-1. Tate, a 354 hitter, 16 runs on 23 hits. One double and 11 RBIs, trying to increase that number right here with runners on the corners. Here's the 1-1. He squares to bunt, pulls it back. It's a ball inside, another breaking ball. And it's 2-1. Umpires today, Philip Blake behind the plate. Landon Davis at first, Don Andrews at third. 2-1. Swing and a miss. Got him with the changeup. And it's 2-2.
Jackson State has shown a propensity early in this season to swing early, be aggressive in counts. They're certainly going to want to do that here. Try to get a run across. You can take advantage here if you can fool them.
McGladdy 90 feet away on third base. Montesano on first. Time is called. Time called by Jackson State. As Robert Tate will walk back to the dugout to grab a word with head coach Jarmar Johnson. Back to the coaches, the two assistants, Chandler Dillard and Chris Stamps, the pitching coach for Jackson State, Justin Thomas. And now Tate will saunter back to the right-handed batter's box. It'll be a 2-2 count. Runners on the corners, one down top of the first. No score yet.
I think that meaning right there shows you just how desperate Jackson State is to get a run across early, to jump in front.
2-2. Breaking ball hit high in the air to left field, not deep. Moving in is Chun, on the run, makes the catch. Runner coming home from third. What a bullet by Chun to hold him at third.
And really lucky break there for the Wildcats, because that was not a great pitch from Gamboa. A little bit of a hanging breaking ball. Just a little bit under it, and a really impressive effort by Chun, laying his body out on the line. Didn't quite fall all the way over on the throw, but definitely gave it his all, and he's left with a scoreless game as a result.
He rifled that one in towards Rodriguez behind the plate. And now with two away runners on the corners, here's Sebastian Cabeza batting .280. And righty to righty, the first pitch is a fastball strike in on the hands, and it's 0-1. Cabeza, the catcher, batting .280. 15 runs on 23 hits, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 13 RBIs. This Jackson State team, as I mentioned in the open, started off blazing hot in non-conference play. Pitch in the dirt. Runner goes to second, no throw. So it'll be a stolen base for Montesano. So second and third, 2 down. Gamboa's 1-1. Ground ball to the first base side. Sufrain fields it, flips to the covering Gamboa, and the Wildcats get out of the jam. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the first. Jackson State 0, Wildcats coming to bat right here on CatEye Network Radio. To the bottom of the first we go here at the Jack. No score after Jackson State got 2 hits in the top of the inning, but the Wildcats used some nice defense to keep them off the scoreboard. The Wildcats batting order will face the junior from California, Isaiah Williams. And after giving up 4 runs in the bottom of the first yesterday, Jackson State will want a cleaner start defensively, and Isaiah Williams certainly gives them a good chance to do that as a fastball slashes through the zone, strike one to Daniel Figueroa. Williams working a staff best 3.77 ERA for Jackson State. That one grounded toward third and foul by Figueroa. Daniel is batting 263 in 57 at-bats. He's got 14 runs on 15 hits, 3 doubles, and 4 RBIs. He's been in and out of this Wildcats lineup all season. The 0-2 breaking ball just doesn't catch the outside corner 1 and 2.
Williams, a guy who looks impressive on paper, looking at his numbers. Not a ton of walks.
1-2. Breaking ball hit high in the air to right field, not deep. McGladdy moves in, makes the catch, 1 down.
For the Wildcats early, it's going to be important to work counts. This is your textbook kind of just get to the bullpen sort of game. At least, you look at the numbers for this guy on the mound. Williams doesn't look like he's going to give you too many opportunities, free passes, whatnot. Do your best to work counts, get to the bullpen as soon as possible, and take advantage there.
First pitch, a breaking ball strike to Garrett Shun. Garrett batting 261. 16 runs on 31 hits. 3 doubles, a triple, and 24 RBIs. And he grounds one right back to Williams, who puts the glove up and throws to first for out number 2.
A little bit of swagger on the mound from Williams there. Made that one look really easy. Bounced right back up to his glove.
He has a very relaxed countenance on the mound, does Williams. It doesn't look like anything bothers him. Just lazily kind of flicks his arm out there, but he gets good velocity on it and has a nice bite on his breaking ball into righties. And he'll face the righty Sergio Rivera. First pitch to him is a fastball away, ball 1. Rivera batting 310, 24 runs on 36 hits. A team-leading 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 16 RBI. The 1-0. Popped sky-high foul behind the plate. And it's 1-1. And the Wildcats don't want to fall back into old habits here. Against good pitching, you don't want to give him easy innings. Want to be putting guys on base, taking his pitch count up. Squaring to bunt, dropping it down right in front of the plate is Rivera. The catcher fields and fires. In time, nice play by Cabeza. And 1-2-3, go the Wildcats. We go to the second inning of play. No score here at the Jack between the Tigers and the Wildcats right here on CatEye Network Radio. We head to the second no score between the Tigers and Wildcats. Game 2 of their 3-game weekend series. The first time these teams will see each other this year. The Tigers will return the homestand later in the month. Top hitter in the Jackson State order, Joseph Eichelberger leads off. First pitch from Gamboa is grounded foul outside of first. And it's 0-1. Eichelberger batting .374 in 107 at bats. He's got 29 runs on 40 hits, 3 doubles, 1 triple, 2 homers, and 33 ribbies. And he fouls one away to the right side as after last night's beautiful evening, that one is hit in the air, right field, down the line, and foul into the corner. He's been closer every time. 3 pitches, 3 fouls, each progressively closer to that first base line.
Corner's very dangerous if he can manage to sneak one inside the foul pole down there. Saw it last night.
Yep. Pitch in the dirt, ball 1. It's that breaking ball that just goes straight down from Gamboa. I mentioned the wind. It is blowing straight in from center pretty hard. Here's the 1-2. Low, 2-2. But don't expect a lot of power today. Pitch, swing and a miss. Fastball inside, got him. First strikeout of the day for Marcus Gamboa.
If Jackson State, particularly the right-handers, as we talked about so much last night, Bocabella going inside, in on the hands, if they're going to swing at balls like that, if they're going to continue to try to fight those off, try to stay alive, it's going to be a pretty easy night on the mound for Gamboa because Bocabella lived on the inner half of the plate last night.
First pitch is a fastball away to the lefty Hassan Standifer, the senior batting .264. 8 runs on 14 hits, 1 double, 8 RBIs for Standifer. He chops one towards second. Olesen moves over and fires away, and there's 2 down.
Quick start for both sides on the mound. A lot of aggressive swings early in this one, trying to make something happen. Patience could go a long way for both sides.
And here's Miles White. The only change in the lineup for Jackson State between yesterday and today, here's the first pitch to White outside ball 1, is White is the DH today, replacing Letty Alvarez, and Alvarez will play second. They were the opposite positions yesterday. The 1-0 is fouled straight back, and it's 1-1. Marcus Gamboa coming off a 2023 season, which he appeared 10 times and started 5 for Bethune-Cookman. Here's the 1-1 in the dirt, 2-1. Only 28 2/3 innings pitched as a sophomore, and a big jump up in responsibility this year to be one of the weekend starters. He misses with a fastball outside of the lefty, 3-1. Inside, ball 4. And that's the first walk of the game. Wildcats almost did themselves in with a couple of walks yesterday, especially in the 9th. That allowed Jackson State to load the bases.
Gamboa, another guy for this Wildcat staff, doesn't walk a ton of batters, maybe not quite to the extent of the Friday night arm Bocabello, but hasn't let it take too much advantage of him.
Here's the 9-hole hitter, Letty Alvarez. 1 on, 2 out. First pitch from Gamboa is golfed high down the left field line. Moving over Garrett Shun. He makes the catch right on the line to end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 left, and we go to the bottom of the second. No score here at the Jack on CatEye Network Radio. To the bottom of the second we go. Both teams looking for a breakthrough here on this Saturday evening. It'll be Jose Gonzalez to lead off for Bethune-Cookman after they went 1-2-3 against Isaiah Williams, the native of Valley Springs, California. The lefty winds and fires. Check swing, no swing. Ball in the dirt, ball 1-2. Gonzalez, who's the best hitter by average on this Wildcats lineup, batting 364. Pitch. In the dirt, ball 2. 18 runs on 39 hits, 3 doubles, a triple, 1 homer, and 21 RBIs. That's second on the team. Pitch. Breaking ball chopped softly towards third. Charging in Montesano. He fires away, and he's safe. Standifer stretched out for it, and in so doing, took his back foot off the bag. So the Wildcats have their first base runner.
Bit of an interesting approach over there at third base from McClatty. Kind of took a few slow, big steps over towards first base before throwing over. I don't think it was as close of a play as maybe he thought it was going to be over at third. But instead, or excuse me, not McClatty's not over at third. That would be Montesano. And I don't think it was going to be as close of a play as he originally thought when he went to make the throw over. Maybe that same kind of principle applies over at first base.
The throw was high and wide of first, and just like we saw yesterday, Standifer had to really stretch to try and make that play. Standifer very tall for an infielder.
It's just another instance for the Wildcats taking advantage with the legs. Even if they're not on the bases already, it doesn't always have to be with steals or taking extra bases. Even that hustle down the line, just putting pressure on the Tigers.
And so there's a long conversation happening between head coach Omar Johnson and first base umpire Landon Davis, but it doesn't come to anything in favor of the Tigers. Gonzalez is on first, and there's nobody out. Here's Manny Sufrain. Sufrain, the big lefty, will watch strike one clip the outside corner with a fastball. Manny batting .247 with 20 runs on 19 hits. Pitch. Breaking ball misses inside, 1-1. 7 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 14 RBIs, slugging .403 is Sufrain. He's one of the few players on this Wildcats roster that if he gets a hold of one, it will go a mile. Pitch. Swing and a foul back to the screen. 1-2. The 1-2 is a turn and throw over to first to try and get Gonzalez. Gonzalez just 1 for 4 on stolen bases this year, not the biggest threat to steal. So Wildcats have not leaned on the stolen base as much as they had maybe 2 years ago. 1-2. Hit high in the air to center, but not deep. Long run for Hibbler. It's actually the left fielder Eichelberger that makes the catch, and there's one down.
Thought initially with the shortstop, left fielder, center fielder all coming in on that ball, you might see a little bit of lack of communication, a little bit of a misplay out there, but credit to them. The Tigers call everybody off. Left fielder's able to make the play.
And here's Jorge Rodriguez, the catcher. Rodriguez bats .242. And the first pitch is high for ball 1. They have credited Montesano at third with an error that puts Gonzalez on first to begin the inning. Rodriguez watches one high and outside for ball number 2. The Wildcats, I'm sure there was some chewing out by Coach Cartaya in the dugout about taking pitches and working counts, because a lot more patient here in inning number 2. Here's the 2-0. Upstairs, 3-0.
Seems like the Wildcats are either one side or the other. It seems like they're either very patient or very aggressive. Doesn't seem to change much batter to batter during the course of a game.
Williams deals. Right down the middle for strike 1. And Jose Gonzalez, who's on first right now batting the cleanup spot, one of the slower base runners on this team, even though he legged out an infield single. Pitch. Fouled straight back. And you could see the grimace on Jorge Rodriguez's face. That might have been ball 4 if he'd laid off of it. But it's 3-2. Three, two, one out. Runner goes. Pitches high, ball 4. And so the Wildcats have first and second with one down. First walk issued by Williams. And the 30th of the season. We talk about strikeout to walk ratio a lot. 55 strikeouts to 29 walks coming into the year for Williams. A lot of strikeouts. That's 55 strikeouts in 43 innings pitched. And now with one down in first and second, here's Jorge Gonzalez Febo. Pitch. Swing and a miss. And did they call a balk? I think they called a balk. No, it hit him. I'm not sure what happened there.
I thought maybe for a second he called catcher's interference.
He swung and missed.
If you swing and miss and it hits you, it's a strike.
It's a strike. So I'm not sure why he's been awarded for catcher's interference.
It was officially catcher's interference. I think he hit the glove ever so slightly when he swung.
Well, now the bases are loaded for Ramses Cordova with one down. So the Wildcats an excellent opportunity to strike first here. First pitch high from Williams, ball 1.
And it's these mistakes like this that separated Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman a night ago defensively. It's an easy way to jump in front, and you just can't do that sort of thing if you're Jackson State.
Ground ball towards short, could be 2. Flip to second for 1, on to first, double play. And just like the Wildcats in the top of the first, the Tigers get out of a jam by turning the double play. No runs, no hits, 2 errors, and the bases left loaded. We go to the third inning, all tied at 0 here on the CatEye Network. To the third, no score here at the Jack. And back to the top of the order for Jackson State, Jordan McLaddy stands in. He singled, moved to third on the single by Montesano, and was stranded there in the first. First pitch from Gamboa is a wild pitch that skips back to the screen right in front of us, and it's 1-0. There's a swing and a miss, strike 1. That wild pitch, not something you see often from any of the Wildcat pitchers. Just spiked that one straight in the dirt. Pitch, low, ball 2.
Unlike a lot of staffs in this SWAC, the Wildcats live in the strike zone.
1-1, lined off the end of the bat, foul, way outside of third. Over the clubhouse down the left field line, and it's 2-2. Gamboa working quickly, and he puts one in the dirt, and it's 3-2 full count to McGladdy. McGladdy batting .365, 38 runs on 42 hits, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 2 homers, and 20 RBIs, and he's punched out looking strike 3. Second strikeout on the day for Mark is low, and it's 1-6.
And I think that principle applies really across different programs. It's not limited to baseball. A lot of these SWAC schools recruit these really athletic players, none of all which are skilled.
That one is laser to left. That's a base hit. That was a fastball just left right in the middle of the zone, and Montesano turned on it, and he has 2 base hits in 2 plate appearances.
Guy who was outstanding for Jackson State last night. Really the one guy who was, AB to AB, shown that he can hang with the Wildcat pitching. Part of that has come with being able to foul off a lot of pitches.
And now one on 2 down. Here's Robert Tate Jr., who popped out to shallow left his first time up. There's a slider strike right in the middle of the zone, 0-1. Both teams have a pretty full complement of bullpen arms to go to this evening. Here's Gamboa's 0-1. There's another breaking ball. That time missed it inside. Because Van Deventer for Jackson State went the full 9 yesterday, and Bocabello went 8 2/3. Dylan Dudonis only threw 8 pitches. The 1-1. Fastball fouled away, 1-2.
I think if Jackson State is able to take a series win, play it tough the rest of the weekend, you'll probably look back at that Van Deventer start and say he's really a big part of how they managed to stay alive. Goes a long way saving that bullpen.
I'll talk about Isaiah Williams' pitch numbers in the bottom of the inning. They spin a throw back to first and got him reaching. Now on a rundown between first and second, and Montesano is out.
It's the difference in the base running techniques for both of these teams. One of them smart about it, the other one not so much.
That's it. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. And we go to the bottom of the third, no score between the Wildcats and the Tigers here on the CatEye Network. Swiftly to the bottom of the third, Wildcats 9-hole hitter Colton Olison will lead off against Isaiah Williams. And I told you at the top of the inning I would talk about Williams' pitch count numbers. 3 times earlier this season, he's gone over 100 pitches in a start. And the first pitch to Olison is inside ball 1. 103 against Alcorn, 116 against Butler, 114 against Alabama State, and 94 against Florida A&M in a loss. Pitch. Fouled straight back, 1-1. So we could see a very similar performance to Van Deventer from last night if Isaiah Williams gets into any sort of rhythm.
These SWAC schools love to ride their starters.
Breaking ball misses outside, 2-1. We saw it last year where I believe it was a Mississippi Valley State pitcher. I'm blanking on his name at the moment. The 2-1, hanging backdoor slider in the zone, 2-2. One of the Mississippi Valley starters in this series, it was the Sunday game, went 7 1/3. That one's hit in the air to center field. Going back, Hibbler reaching up makes the catch. And there's one away. And back to the top of the order, here's Daniel Figueroa. But to finish my point, went over 130 pitches, and Mississippi Valley State had the lead in that game. The second he was pulled, the Wildcats jumped all over the reliever, and they ended up winning the game.
Sometimes the bullpen is just so shaky, especially later in the weekend, that you just kind of tell your guy, listen, you're going to have to pick us up today.
One down, here's Figueroa. First pitch, that backdoor slider into the zone for strike one. Figueroa popped out to shallow right his first time up. And Williams is 0-1. Low, 1-1. What we've seen yesterday with Vander Venter and all throughout this SWAC season, another slider catches the outside part of the plate to the righty Figueroa, 1-2. Once we get to the bullpen, there's some shaky pens in this league. Even that one's upstairs, 2-2. Even at your schools at the top of the conference, Bethune-Cookman no exception, right? And Florida A&M. The 2-2, outside 3-2.
I felt like last year, by the time we got to the tournament, most of the big-time relief arms were just these teams reaching back into their starting rotation and pulling guys back. How we saw Santos come in for the Wildcats. Daniel Gaviria was a reliever across the board.
3-2. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, and we'll do it again.
Just kind of a lack of depth overall. Tougher to recruit at schools like this. So you don't have the wealth of pitching talent that some other schools may have.
Full count delivery. Inside hit him. So it would have been ball 4, but it doesn't matter. Figueroa takes his base, 1-on-1 out for the Wildcats.
Well, if you're going to have one hit you, that's the spot to do it. Hit him right on the elbow guard. Didn't even flinch.
Here's Garrett Chun. Grounded out back to the pitchers first time up. That was a really hard hit ball. And Williams, to be a little lucky, had the glove up by his face to turn that play. 1-on-1 out. Here's the first pitch, lefty to lefty. Chun fouls it away. And it's 0-1. The Wildcats, after the first 3 innings, they played at those 6 runs yesterday. They really fell off offensively. They throw to first, got him in a rundown, and the ball gets away. So Daniel Figueroa is to second with a stolen base, as Williams' throw over to first crossed up Standifer, and he couldn't make the throw to second.
It's the little things. I mean, how different do these two teams look in terms of those small little plays like that? Just rushing it, trying to throw before you've maintained control of the ball, and as a result, it's in the dirt. Everybody's safe.
Breaking ball high, 1-1 to Chun. That's the 3rd error on Jackson State, and we're already in the 3rd inning.
Just sloppy baseball.
And they gave the error to Standifer. Spinning a throw back to second. Figueroa is in there safely. Figueroa stole 3rd in the first inning yesterday. Came around to score the opening run for the Wildcats. 1-1. Breaking ball up and in. Now to lefties, Williams can't really use that slider as much because where he's placing it to righties would probably hit Chun, who's standing very close to the inside of that batter's box. 2-1. Hit in the air to right center field. Going over is Hibbler, the center fielder, reaches up, makes the catch. Figueroa tags and will head to third. So now 2 down and a runner 90 feet away for the Wildcats. Here is Sergio Rivera, who bunted
number 19.
with 2 down in the first and was out catcher to first baseman. Not sure he'll try that strategy again with 2 down and a runner on third. Although I have seen with my own eyes the Wildcats small ball their way to many wins over the past couple of years. First pitch to him is that slider, but it didn't cut far enough into the zone, ball 1. I would love to go back to the annals of Coach Hernandez's career as he nears win number 100 at the helm of this program. Here's the 1-0, swing and a miss. and it's 1-1. Uh, and see just how many of those wins he's picked up by squeeze plays, late innings substitutions to put faster guys on, things like that. Williams, big exhale to 1-1 in the dirt, 2-1.
This team is kind of a combination, I think, of the last 2 years we've seen this team. They started off 2 years ago with run first, and then they kind of went away from it. And now it's kind of a hybrid where they use it as a great tool, but it doesn't define the team.
2-1, high pop, right field. It'll be the center fielder Hibbler to make the catch and end the innings. The Wildcats have stranded a runner on third for 2 straight innings. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left. And we go to the top of the 4th. Still no score here at the Jack on CatEye Network Radio. It's a pitching and defense duel here through 3 at the Jack tonight. Still no score as Robert Taint leads off for Jackson State. Marcus Gamboa, 47 pitches through 3 innings back on the mound. Scoreless game. Middle of a 3-game set here this weekend. A breaking ball tails away from the righty. And it's so 1-0.
I think this Wildcats team is one that likes to get in these low-scoring games like this, one that feels like they are best equipped to win games like this.
There's a fastball inside. Doesn't get the swing that time from Tate, and it's 2-0. They have won a lot of close games that are low scoring this year. Pitch fouled straight back, 2-1. You know, the big midweek wins that we've had, Jacksonville, UNF have both been lower scoring. The exception the FIU game, that was 11-6. Breaking ball chopped toward third. Diving stop by Fabo. He throws across the diamond. Not in time. A big stretch by Soufrain. He did make the catch and keep his foot on the bag, but a headfirst slide by Robert Tate gives him an infield single.
That's one of those plays where I thought maybe we'd see the first base official give it to him. Maybe it's one where you see the guy's tie, and generally tie goes to the runner, but sometimes I feel like the first base official will give it to you if you make that much of an effort. It was incredible to be able to knock that ball down on a bounce on the dive like that.
Coach Hernandez is going to come out and talk to the first base umpire, but considering that Landon Davis didn't overturn the one where the Jackson State coach went out there in the first inning, I'm not sure there's going to be much to say about this one. But again, a tremendous stop by Fable right over the bag at third. That's destined for the corner and a double at minimum if he doesn't make that play.
It's a really great way to make your coach happy. Earn yourself more playing time, especially as a freshman. Showing that you're willing to get down and dirty for balls like that can go a long way.
Not much dirty on this field, which is mostly turf outside the mound and the area around the plate. So now 1 on, nobody out for Sebastian Cabeza. Spin it a throw back to first. Tate dives in. Tate just 4 for 5 on the year at stolen bases. as he collected his 24th hit of the season, and he's now standing on first. Gamboa deals to Cabeza, squares to bunt, drops it down, foul, first base up. And the count is 0-1. I would expect nothing less from a game like this. Both teams have struggled to not necessarily get runners on, but to have them cross the plate, play a little small ball. We've seen Jackson State bunt already today. Hibbler bunted McClatty over in the first after a leadoff single. 0-1, squares to bunt again, pulls it back, throw back to first. Sliding in safely is Tate. The pitch was high, 1-1. We've seen both catchers for Bethune-Cookman be very aggressive in throwing over to first after the pitch.
Tate really hasn't had much of a lead at all over there, just a couple of steps.
Count even at 1. Low, 2-1. Cabeza squared to bunt again. And in a game that appears to be very low scoring, the first team to score is going to have a massive advantage. Now he does get the bunt down. The first baseline, Gamboa flips it to first for the out, and Tate moves across the second on the sacrifice.
An old school grindy start of a baseball game. Pushing guys over, sacrificing outs to move guys up. So it's a refreshing style to watch when it's kind of so few and far between in today's game.
Now here's Joseph Eichelberger, who struck out his first time up. Tate leads off second, one down, and he grounds one towards third. Another stop by Fabo. He looks Tate back, throws across the diamond, skips it in there, and a nice pick by Soufrain for out number 2.
Manny Soufrain always solid over there at first base. Great job playing that one off the hard bounce. Turf's always a little unpredictable out here, but Soufrain's done a good job most of the season on making sure he gobbles up balls like that.
The couple times we've had to broadcast from underneath the turtle's nest down the first base line because it's been raining, it really gives you an appreciation for the first baseman, not just Soufrain, but everybody who plays that position and the work they have to do. Pitch is outside to Hassan Standifer, who grounded out to second his first time up. Because almost no throws are perfect at this level. You're always reaching one direction or another to try to make those routine, quote-unquote, plays at first. Ball in the dirt, 2-0. As the sun begins to dip below the left field grandstands here at the Jack, the shadows not yet encroaching on the field, but are right behind home plate. Pitch. Ground ball towards second. Deep in the hole, fielded by Olison. Quick throw across in time to end the inning. So the Wildcats make some great defense by Jorge Gonzalez Fabo at third base. Count, no runs, one hit, one left. And we go to the bottom of the fourth. Still no score here on the CatEye Network. Still scoreless to the bottom of the fourth here at the Jack. It will be Jose Gonzalez, the designated hitter, to lead off. He reached on a throwing error from the third baseman Montesano his first time up and ended up being stranded on third as the Wildcats left the bases loaded in the second. First pitch to him, a fastball inside corner for strike one. It's been a workmanlike performance so far for Isaiah Williams. That was pitch number 46, and there's a swing and a miss at a slider, and it's quickly 0-2. Catcher sets up outside. Pitch goes low as Williams misses his spot, 1-2. Next up for the Wildcats, they'll finish this series against Jackson State tomorrow afternoon at 1. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss and a ball in the dirt. And he's claiming catcher's interference. He stood there as Cabeza tagged him, and he's out. And now the third base umpire wants to bring all the umpires together.
Well, it seems
as
odd.
He's seen something different.
It seems odd to me to appeal down to an official on base to make that call on catcher's interference. I find it hard to believe that either at first or third you had a better angle to see that than the guy right behind the plate.
So
no pitch as the result?
I think foul tip is what he was claiming. That he got a piece of it, so he should be still alive, 1-2. And for the third time already in the game, here comes Omar Johnson out to argue. And he is a little bit more heated than the close play at first that he argued earlier.
You know, with the lack of replay, we see this kind of thing unfold a lot where one coach will come out and they'll have a conversation, and then the call will change, and then the other coach will have come out and have a conversation, and we do this little back and forth, which is pretty entertaining to watch. I think it's kind of tough when you know it's most of the time not going to result in much just because we don't have the benefit of replay, but certainly going to plead his case.
Coach Johnson very animatedly discussing with the third base umpire, Don Andrews. And we could hear a little bit of their conversation, and Coach Johnson is not happy, but it's going to be another chance for Jose Gonzalez after he swung an apparently foul-tipped one that was in the dirt. The count will be 1-2. Williams is ready. Johnson is still out there in the circle.
Looks like an official protest.
Yep, official protest is the call. I'm with no score in the fourth and nobody on the leadoff. That seems like a tough thing to protest.
I think it's probably a combination of factors. Of course, the play didn't go the way that Jackson State wants it to, but I think, you know, we saw the back and forth of balls and strikes last night. We saw a handful of back and forths out of various different things, primarily from the Jackson State dugout. So I think maybe it's kind of just it's all boiled over to the point that we've had enough.
Now the 1-2 from Williams after a long layoff, and it's swung on and fouled right into the catcher's mask. Cabeza just gives a little nod and throws the ball back over to the pitcher. Catchers are a different breed. It's a position I never played and never really wanted to.
Sicko's position for sure.
The 1-2 in the dirt, 2-2. Gonzalez, after an eventful at-bat, trying to get on for the second time today. Pitch, ground ball, foul outside of third, and count holds 2-2. And maybe not this inning, but the next inning, you'll probably see the shadows encroach on the batter's vision. Here's the pitch, low and inside, ball 3, and from the 0-2 position he was in, it's now 3-2, but the beneficiary of that foul tip, quote unquote, call that was made by the third base umpire in the middle of it. Wildcats still do not have a hit tonight. Here's the 3-2. Upstairs, ball 4. And Gonzalez took a bit of a look to the Jackson State dugout as he was jogging down to first.
That's certainly one way to stick it to the Tigers over there. An ideal, outcome for them is just it ends up in an out regardless, and all the kerfuffles for nothing. But now you might flirt with it really affecting the outcome of this inning.
Here's Manny Sufrain, first pitch up and in ball one. He popped out to shallow left his first time up. As I said, the Wildcats do not have a hit. Their now fifth base runner of the game is aboard. The 1-0 in the dirt ball two. Runner goes down to second. No throw. As Cabeza couldn't corral it down by his ankles, and it's a stolen base for Gonzalez.
And I think that's just another example of smart base running. Gonzalez isn't a guy who's looking to run. He's definitely not run first. And that's not an obvious wild pitch that you would advance on. And yet still he's able to take the base without a throw.
So now runner on second with nobody out. The pitch. Swung on, ground ball, foul. Back to the Jackson State dugout on the first base side. And it's 2-1. I know Sufrain is your typical kind of 3-2 outcome power hitter, but I wouldn't mind maybe a bunt here.
We've seen him try steals, so anything's possible.
2-1. Slider catches the zone. That's really tough as a lefty because it starts almost behind you and ends up in the zone on the inside part of the plate. Now the count 2-2.
I'd certainly throw it again if he knew he could hit his spot with it.
Williams deals. Ground ball, foul. First base side again. He tried it, but Sufrain caught up to it just enough to stay alive.
It is a pitch that Sufrain could definitely get a hold of if it leaks too far towards the outer half of the plate. Tough to get your hands in around it if it stays inside.
Once again, the 2-2. Outside 3-2. Williams takes off his hat in frustration. He thought he clipped the outside corner with the fastball.
Coach Omar over there still asking for a little bit of explanation. He's not a happy camper with the officiating thus far on the weekend.
Full count to Sufrain. Williams long looking. He shakes off a couple of pitches. Now the lefty from the stretch. Check swing. No swing. Outside ball four. Two straight walks to begin the inning for the Wildcats. 2 on, nobody out. And here's Jorge Rodriguez.
Now here's where you see the difference between a mentally strong team and a team that maybe isn't quite there yet in Jackson State. Is if the Wildcats can manage to make the Tigers pay after all the back and forth, the questions of officiating, everything else, if you just come through and do your job regardless, put runs on the board, you see the opposite for Jackson State. You don't want to crumble under a situation like that. Don't let it affect you, but to this point, it seems like it may have, at the very least, Williams on the mound.
The first pitch, squaring to bunt, popping it up down the third base line, and it is caught. A diving grab by Montesano, and maybe a worst-case scenario there for the Wildcats as the bunt gets nothing.
The bunting for this Wildcats team, for the most part this year, has been pretty good. It's been a weapon. It's been a tool they've been able to go to move guys up. It's pretty rare we've seen that, but a tough break.
And now here's Jorge Gonzalez, who reached on catcher's interference his first time up. 2 on, 1 out pitch. Ground, that is a line drive, foul, just outside of third. Ooh, he caught that one better than he's barreled up most pitches in the last couple of weeks, but was a little bit early on it. Apologies for a little bit of the technical issues we're having here. Now the 0-1. Ground ball towards second. It gobbles up Tate. He throws to second for one, back to first, double play. And a big pop from the Jackson State dugout as they get out of another jam. No runs, no hits, one left. And we go to the fifth inning. Still no score here on the CatEye Network. We go to the fifth. 1 hour down in this game. We are swiftly moving along. No score between the Jackson State Tigers and Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And Coach Omar, the entire break between the innings, was out there talking to the third base umpire. He eventually waved off his protest that he made earlier after the strange
Still out there talking.
the strange foul tip call from the previous inning. It'll be Miles White to lead off. He walked and was stranded on first his first time up. Pitch. Ground ball, foul. First base side. 0-1. Gamboa, that was pitch number 60. Still no action for either bullpen. Squaring to bunt is White. He pulls it back so the ball goes inside and low, 1-1. And I wouldn't really expect there to be any motion from bullpens at this juncture. Both starters look decently comfortable. Breaking ball, strike, catches the outside corner. 1-2. That one, Gamboa just misses his spot way upstairs, 2-2. It's odd to me that the Wildcats don't have a hit. The pitch. High pop. Shallow left. Chun, fighting the sun, makes the catch for out number 1. And yet they've had more total base runners than Jackson State has.
I mean, it really feels like in many ways they've been in control of the game, especially offensively. But yeah, without a hit, it's kind of crazy. But it also will be all the more frustrating if they're not able to pull one out. Just do that sort of thing and not get anything from the bats.
First pitch, squaring to bunt is Letty Alvarez. Pulls it back, ball 1 low. Which technically means that Isaiah Williams still has a no-hitter through 4 after he's allowed 6 base runners. Pitch. There's a fastball strike in on the hands. 3 errors committed by Jackson State in the early going. Still nothing across the board for Bethune-Cookman. Pitch. Ball outside and low on a breaking ball, 2-1. Gamboa with the wind at his back. Fastball inside, 3-1. I'll tell you what, the Jackson State dugout is really fired up after that last inning. Inside and hit him would have been ball 4 regardless. So the second free pass given up by Gamboa, 1 walk and 1 hit by pitch. And 1 on, 1 out, back to the top of the order for Jordan McClatty, who singled his first time up and then struck out looking in the third. First pitch. Outside and low, 1-0. And it does feel like Gamboa this inning has lost the zone a little bit. Not as competitive with some of these pitches. The 1-0, a throw back to first as racing back in is Alvarez. The pitch was inside, and it's 2-0.
Don't underestimate the importance of the attitude and the way the Jackson State dugout has remained engaged during this whole game, just because of all the opportunities they've had on both sides of the ball.
Swing and a miss at a fastball at the knees, 2-1. Alvarez just batting 200, lowest in the starting lineup for Jackson State today. 11 runs on 9 hits, 3 doubles, 2 RBI. This is McClatty at the plate. Alvarez is on first. Wildcats trying to build off of a 6-2 win last night and secure another series victory here at the Jack. The 2-2. Runner goes, ball is in the dirt and gets away to the backstop. Thankfully for the Wildcats, Alvarez slid headfirst into second. If he stays on his feet, he takes third pretty easily because that one was way to the backstop. We'll give him a wild pitch.
And the benefit of the doubt there on the behalf of the arm of George Rodriguez back there, keeping guys accountable so it feels like he has to go for the slide, can't remain on his feet. If he goes feet first or doesn't slide, absolutely, he's down to third at least.
3-2. Ball 4, 2 straight free passes to open the inning. And there's 2 on, 1 out, not to open the inning. White popped out to left, but 2 on, 1 out for Rodney Hibbler, who bunted McClatty from first to second his first time up, then flew out to center field. And time is called. And there will be a meeting on the mound.
But again, last night, the Wildcats came out on both sides of the ball, Bocabello defensively, and the bats on the other end. It just sapped all the energy from the Jackson State dugout, took it all away, never gave them a chance to get back into the game until it was too late. Jackson State here tonight is very fired up over there in the dugout, pitch to pitch. Every time they continue to put a little bit of pressure on, the guys are fired up. There's momentum in that dugout, even if the lead does not necessarily reflect it. Got to do your best to try to sap that, take it away.
As we have a couple of people warming up in the Bethune-Cookman bullpen, a quick scramble to get arms ready. 2 on, 1 out. Still in this scoreless game in the top of the 5th. Marcus Gamboa at 75 pitches. Taking a look at his pitch counts from earlier in the season. 90 against Stonehill. 101 against Alabama A&M last weekend was his longest outing of the season, but he's been hovering in the between 50 and 90 range. So he's reaching towards the end of his normal range of pitching. McClatty on first, Alvarez on second, both via the free pass. Swinging a high drive, left field down the line. Moving over Chun, he will run out of room, and it's a foul ball. This is Rodney Hibbler at the plate. The count's 0-1. That time, Hibbler was expecting the inside fastball and turned on it. Oh, 1. Swing and a miss. Fastball down and low. And it's 0-2. Now, can Gamboa work himself out of another jam like he did in the first inning? Similar situation, 2 on, 1 out. And he deals. Ground ball, foul, third base side. Slow roller as Hibbler just caught up to it. Tanner Bocabello gives some new balls to the home plate umpire. Continuing the tradition here at BCU, the last starter is the ball boy for the next game. Once again, the 0-2. Upstairs, 1-2. Almost half a pitch out, expecting a double steal. Now, the Wildcats do love to employ that. Wouldn't be surprised to see it here for the Tigers. 1-2, the wind of the pitch. Breaking ball chops straight back, and the count holds again. We're approaching the end of this long homestand for Bethune-Cookman, as always happens at the beginning of the season. 1-2, 2 on, 1 out. Inside, missed with a breaking ball, 2-2. As the Daytona Tortugas, the resident minor league affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, start their regular season on Tuesday. 2-2. Line drive, base hit down the line in left field and all the way to the corner. Scoring from second is Alvarez. Holding up at third is McClatty. It's an RBI double for Hibbler down the line, and it's 1-0 Jackson State.
You know, with the way the Tigers are going, it kind of felt like a matter of time before somebody was going to get into something. Guys remaining locked in, remaining engaged, coming out of the dugout. They're fired up over there while the Bethune-Cookman dugout's a little bit quiet. It's going to take somebody on either side of the ball to bring BCU back into this ball game.
Gamboa stays on the mound, now second and third. And they're going to intentionally walk Lenny Montesano. So load the bases with one down and bring up Robert Tate. Tate in an infield single to third base. That was the great diving stop by Fabo back in the fourth, and then popped out to shallow left in the first. Bases loaded, one out. Jackson State already with a 1-0 lead. And Coach Omar is again mad about something. I'm not sure what Coach Omar is talking about. He's gonna protest again. He said something about already being declared. I'm not sure what he's now talking to the third base umpire again.
I don't think it has anything to do with the intentional walk because I haven't seen any motion from the Bethune-Cookman dugout when he was walked as if that was the wrong choice or maybe they wanted to retract making that play.
The only thing it could be is maybe a pitch clock thing.
Oh man, Coach Johnson just called back the second base official another time. He let out what looked like a big groan, threw his shoulders back, frustrated. He had to walk back over and have another conversation. I tell you what, if we get some big time controversial play out here from that goes against Jackson State, I don't think they're going to hesitate to toss him. He's been fairly, diplomatic to this point, but if that doesn't continue, if he's given reason not to continue, he's not doing himself any favors.
Yeah. We have head volleyball coach Brittany Williams in the building, fresh off of the spring contests for volleyball against Daytona State a couple of days ago.
All our fall sports, peeking around, starting to show themselves a little bit after a break.
And now Coach Hernandez is going to be called over to talk to the official as they are looking at their scorecards. And as Marcus Gamboa gets some practice throws in, remember, this is bases loaded, one out. Lenny Montesano's on first after being intentionally walked. Hibbler's at second after an RBI double. And Alvarez is on, or excuse me, McClatty is on third. Alvarez is already in the inning after a leadoff hit by pitch. This has got to be the most delays I've seen through the first 5 innings of a baseball game for controversial calls or umpire discrepancies. I mean, usually, we see Coach Hernandez come out and talk about a call and then he'll walk back. But Coach Johnson has been in the ear of these umpires basically every inning.
And it's this point, this one is dragged on long enough. You start to have the conversation of, well, who benefits more from even just the break? And I don't necessarily mean as a chance to rest, but just mentally taking that kind of step back. Does it help Gamboa in being able to separate a little bit from a rough start to an inning? Does it help him reset? Does it hurt him a little bit because he's had to wait and he wants to get right back into action? Could go a number of different ways here. I'm still not entirely sure what this conversation has resulted in, but
It
bases are loaded.
results in nothing that we can see, as Robert Tate will step into the right-handed batter's box. Bases loaded, one out. Tigers already up 1-0 with a run in the inning. And the pitch from Gamboa. Swing and a miss at a sinker that ends up in the dirt, 0-1.
Tate a little excited, I think, with his dugout all behind him, making a lot of noise. Got out in front of that one, guessing fastball.
Long looking from Gamboa out of the stretch. Slider strike outside corner as Tate pulled back a bunt, and it's 0-2.
Nice break for Gamboa there. I don't think that one was in the zone. Looked quite a bit outside, but he's gifted the call.
Marcos checks his pitch count. Now he winds and fires. Strike 3! Called him out looking on the outside black. And there's 2 away in the inning.
See the big smile from Gamboa on the mound.
That
Chris
was a
Johnson's
great pitch from Marcus, right on the outside corner.
That one was a much closer pitch than the one before it. So there's no doubt about it. He was going to get the strike call. Now here's a chance to fire up your dugout if you can escape this one with no further damage.
Here's Sebastian Cabeza, grounded out to first in the first, and then bunted over a runner in the second. First pitch to him. Check swing, strike one. As a breaking ball does find the outside part of the plate. Gamboa trying to limit the damage and only allow one run here for the Tigers. Pitch. Breaking ball into left center field. That is going to be down. One run is in. Two runs are in. And it is going to be a RBI double. And it's 3-0 Jackson State. McClowney scores from third. Hibbler scores from second. So a second double in the inning. It's 3-1 Tigers.
Well, we saw the Wildcats play from behind all weekend last weekend. See if they have what it takes to do it again here.
So Montesano goes from first to third. Correction, it's just a single for Sebastian Cabeza. He's on first. And now here's Joseph Eichelberger. Gamboa misses inside with a fastball. And it's 1-0. You're right, they were down all three games in the top of the first. Alabama A&M score, but the Wildcats swept that series. Pitch. Fastball missed low and outside, 2-0. And I think no matter what the result of the rest of this inning, I think Marcos Gamboa may be done. As batter number 8 of the inning looks at the pitch. There's a ball upstairs and away. 3-0. Gamboa just puts one right down the middle. Eichelberger taken all the way. Joseph Eichelberger, the 374 hitter, looking for a misery compiler here in the top of the fifth. Already 3 runs in the inning for the Tigers. Breaking ball, misses high, ball 4, and another walk.
Looks like that's going to spell the end for Gamboa here as Coach Hernandez takes the long trot out to the mound. Gamboa tried that breaking ball a lot today, tried to get that one to dip inside on that upper half of the zone, touch the top end of the strike zone. He had success when he was able to get it, but when he felt like he was getting squeezed a little bit up top, that's when it kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yep. Gamboa goes 4 2/3, gives up 3 runs on 6 hits, strikes out 3, walks 4, and hits 1. So 5 free passes for Gamboa is really where the damage is done. Allowed innings to be extended.
And it's just this carousel of Tanner Bocabello and who else. And it's been interesting. We haven't seen anyone else take over a weekend starting spot to this point, not even really in an audition. Of course, we saw Joe Corey take a Friday night, but that was only because Tanner Bocabello was dealing with the flu, so he couldn't pitch. We haven't seen anybody else get that chance yet. And Gamboa has at times flashed that top end ability to compete on Saturdays. He's certainly got the competitive spirit to be that weekend guy, but the stuff and the results have just not always been there. And of course, Daniel Gaviria behind him has, of course, maybe had a little bit of lackluster start according to his standards to the season. But if the Wildcats are going to have success late in the season against teams like Alabama State, Florida A&M, Jackson State again on the road, you're going to have to find somebody besides Bocabello who can come in and give you strong starts. And of course, 3 runs in 5 isn't the worst of the worst for Gamboa. It's not like he was a disaster out there. He's certainly manageable, but somebody's got to come in and take another weekend spot and really take charge of it and hold on for the remainder of the season.
And with the way the offense has, or lack thereof, shown up today, no hits through 4 innings. You know, it's tough because, you know, if you give up 3 runs in 4 2/3 and the offense scores 8, it looks a lot better. But it is going to be Dylan Vega, the graduate student right-hander from Pembroke Pines, Florida, to take over on the mound. In his 12th appearance of the season, he's thrown 22 2/3 innings with an ERA of 5.56. He's given up 16 runs on 22 hits, 14 earned, striking out 12, walking 7, giving up 8 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 1 wild pitch. And he will face the 9th batter of the inning, Hassan Standifer, with the bases loaded again. Pitch. Chop foul behind the plate, 0-1. We had UCF on Tuesday bat around in the 4th, an inning where they scored 4 runs. Chop foul right at home plate again, and it's 0-2. Vega just coming in looking to stabilize here and give the Wildcat bats a chance to do something. They've had opportunities. They've had the bases loaded. They've had runners on third. Pitch fouled away again. Count holds 0-2. But that clutch hit has not been there for the Wildcats yet today, and Jackson State finally took advantage. And I remember a lot last year, especially towards the stretch of the season, late and into the tournament. There's a ball high 1-2. Because Jackson State was the last series here at the Jack before the SWAC tournament. The Tigers took 2 of 3 from the Wildcats in that one. But we talked a lot about every hit, every batter for Jackson State feels like it's oppressive as a ball goes in the dirt 2-2. And last night we didn't really feel that, but tonight it is definitely back with a vengeance, that sense of every batter is going to do damage. 2-2. Ground ball softly hit towards first. And a flip to first. Vega covers in time to end the inning. 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and the bases left loaded. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-0 Jackson State here on the CatEye Network. Wildcats find themselves in a state where they have been a lot in this SWAC season. That is behind. They trailed Jackson State 3-0 after 4.5 innings. And the first batter of the inning, Ramses Cordova, looks at a fastball high from Isaiah Williams, and it's ball 1. There's a strike, outside corner with a slider, 1-1. The Wildcats have hit into 2 inning-ending double plays with runners in scoring position. One of them with the bases loaded. There's a strike right at the knees, 1-2 to Cordova. Cordova hit into the first one. That one was with the bases loaded back in the second. Wildcats still do not have a hit tonight. 1-1. Swung on and fouled away to the left-hand side. That's going to be all the way into the river.
Long sit for Williams with everything that went on in the top half of this inning, so if you're going to take advantage, now's a good time to do it.
1-2, up and in, 2-2. And Williams has been very efficient to this point. Only throwing 64 pitches. Here's number 65. Breaking ball, fouled, popped straight up in the air. Will it go foul? Yes, it hit the roof off to our right. The newly installed roof here at the Jack.
Williams shook off 3 pitches there before throwing that. A little bit dangerous. Didn't love that breaking ball cutting over the middle of the plate. Hung up a little bit.
Once again, the 2-2. Foul tipped in the dirt. Cordova barely base runners, but without a hit. Error, walk, catcher's interference, hit by pitch, walk, walk. And this one is hit in the air to center, not deep. Coming on is Hibbler. He makes the catch. That was first pitch swinging from Colton Olison, and there's quickly 2 away. That's his second fly to center.
Not a productive at bat there. A couple of guys starting to stretch in the Jackson State bullpen, but that's it. I wouldn't touch Williams for a bit if he's going to keep cruising like this, especially the Wildcats give him a chance to keep going.
First pitch to Figueroa. There's a strike at the knees. 0-1. Hibbler out in center has gotten a decent bit of work today. 4 putouts for him, 3 in the third. Made every out. Ground ball softly hit to first. Diving stop by Standifer. He'll take it himself. A great defensive play by Hassan Standifer. 1, 2, 3, go the Cats. Not the response you would have wanted from Bethune-Cookman after giving up 3 runs at the top of the inning. We head to the 6th. 3-0 Jackson State here on the CatEye Network. Jackson State looking to increase their 3-0 lead here in the top of the 6th. And Miles White will lead off the 6th just like he led off the 5th as the Tigers brought 9 to the plate in the last inning and 3 crossed it. First pitch to him from Dylan Vega is chop foul, first base side. Elsewhere in the SWAC tonight, Florida A&M beat Alabama State 9-4. Texas Southern beat Southern 8-3. Other games that have not been reported: Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley, Grambling State and Alcorn. That one softly rolled towards short. Cordova backhands, fires across in time with a nice scoop by Sufrain to get the outs.
You know, we did have the issue last night looking at that SWAC schedule. I feel like, didn't we say that Texas Southern played Alcorn? Because we thought they beat Southern really bad last night, 20-1 or whatever it was, and it turned out
Yeah,
they
that
played
is
Alcorn.
correct. So
that
Texas
must
Southern
be still an Alcorn game.
Yeah, Texas Southern beat Alcorn 8-3. There's a fastball strike from Vega to Letty Alvarez. Breaking ball hammered. Left center field, but Not going to do enough. The center fielder, Figueroa, comes in to make the catch, and there's 2 away. And the Wildcats would love a quick inning here, but here's Jordan McClatty, who singled in the first, was stranded on third, walked and scored in the last inning, and struck out in the third. One of only 3 strikeouts for Gamboa in his time on the mound. First pitch, a fastball outside to the lefty, 1-0. Southern playing Arkansas Pine Bluff. That score has not been reported. Check swing, no swing. Ball goes low, 2-0. To Jordan McClatty, the junior. Out of Augusta, Georgia. Pitch. There's a strike. Right at the knees, 2-1.
Vega's been in this role a lot this season for the Wildcats, being the guy to come in and kind of settle things down after a start.
That one's low and inside, 3-1.
A quick inning would definitely go a long way here, but VCU bats are going to have to wake up. They have not been there.
There's a strike as McClatty had tossed his bat away and was halfway to first before the home plate umpire, Philip Blake, pointed to the right. And it draws another round of arguments from Coach Omar in the bench.
Also can't be thrilled with McClatty kind of showing up the pitcher, showing up the umpire right there.
3-2. That's a strike 3 called on the outside corner. McClatty goes down swinging 1-2-3 go the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the inning. And it's still 3-0 Jackson State right here on the CatEye Network. Eric Chun leading off for Bethune-Cookman here in the bottom of the 6th. They still do not have a hit against starter Isaiah Williams. And they're down 3-0. First pitch to Chun. Breaking ball strike 0-1. And that first pitch strike has really been working for Williams. It's something that the Wildcat pitchers have not been able to replicate. That one misses inside. Went with the slider again. 1-1.
That pitch is pretty devastating against the lefty bats. Didn't get the strike call there. I thought it was in, though.
Goes for the slider again, and he's getting the calls away, but not in.
Now it's something that you set up your fastball really well. Might see him go low and away as he has a couple times with it.
Here's the 1-2. He does go low and away and gets a strike 3 called against Garrett Chun.
You start off with that breaking ball, especially to the lefties, where they're kind of leaning out of the way of it. It's one of those ones where it starts off looking like it may almost hit you, but it's very much up in your grill like that. You go away, they expect the ball to go well outside the zone. Don't swing at it, freezes him right there.
First pitch to Sergio Rivera, fastball low, 1-0. That was the second strikeout for Williams. His first one was the first out of the 5th to Ramses Cordova pitch. There's that backdoor slider again that catches just the outside part of the plate at the knees.
See, now if you want, you could try elevating a fastball too, because now they're expecting it to dip and it doesn't.
Missed with that one. Low and outside, 2-1. Hit in the air to the right side. McClatty doesn't have to move much to make the catch, 2 away.
Jackson State taking advantage of the Wildcats allowing the starting pitcher to remain efficient.
Yeah. Quickly, 2 outs. And here is Jose Gonzalez. He's been on base twice, reached on an error by the third baseman, and then a walk. And he's been the closest of any Wildcat to scoring in this game. He was stranded on third in the second and second in the fourth. Pitch is low, and it's 1-0. Big swing and a miss. Correction, it was 2-0. Now it's 2-1. As the blue sky slowly starts to fade to black. Fastball misses outside, 3-1. Couple of wispy clouds catching the orange light of the sun as it sets below the horizon off to our left. Here's the 3-1. Inside ball 4. And Gonzalez takes his base.
Continue to put pressure on. Finally, some arms starting to get moving, starting to throw a little bit in that Jackson State pen. We're to the point now where it seems like the only way the Wildcats are going to get back in this one is if Isaiah Williams is not the guy on the mound.
Here's Manny Sufrain, popped out to shallow left his first time up. Ground ball softly back towards the middle. It's off of Williams' glove. It rolls to second, and everybody is safe. Nobody can make a play. And there's first and second with 2 down.
Manny Sufrain showing the legs a little bit, hustling down to first base, making that play happen. No error there, just a tough one for Williams to kind of get by. Kind of swiped at it with his glove. Maybe if he tries to set his feet a little more and gather that one, he has a chance at it, especially with Manny Sufrain, one of the slower guys on the base pass. But here we go.
I'll give that an infield single. Why not?
They do credit it an error. Maybe at this point it's something to preserve the hit list on the mound.
First pitch is swung on and fouled off to the left, bit of in front of it from Jorge Rodriguez. Rodriguez walked and was stranded on second in the second, and then bunted in the fourth to move the runners over. Or try and move the runners over. It was a pop-up bunt that was caught by a diving play by the third baseman. That pitch in the dirt. Gonzalez at second was tempted to try and go to third, but a nice recovery move by Cabeza keeps him at second. One, big cut and miss with a ball way in the dirt. And Williams a strike away from getting out of another jam of his own making. The 1-2. In the dirt. And it's ball 2. Again, nice job by Cabeza to keep that one in front of him.
3C Williams' stuff doesn't play quite as well to right-handed batters because that bite on that off-speed pitch can either go a little too far inside or sometimes hang on the outside edge, and you risk those opposite field hits.
The 2-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball. Base hit to left field. Rounding third is Gonzalez. Here's the throw to the plate. He slides in safely. The Wildcats are on the board. It's a little 2-out rally. An RBI single for Rodriguez, and it's 3-1.
And after the Sufrain ball was ruled an error that officially breaks up the no-hitter, now you start to try to string them together. You put a little bit of pressure on Coach Johnson over there to think about the bullpen more and more with every batter. With 2 outs here, you really need to try to keep putting a little more.
And now, Sufrain moved all the way to third. So he's on third. Rodriguez on first. First pitch to Gonzalez. Fabo is a breaking ball strike. Rodriguez will take the stolen base unopposed, so Rao second and third.
Clearly trying that double steal there. With Manny Sufrain on third, probably not the best, but Jackson State just lets him take it anyway.
0-1. Strike at the knees, 1-1. This would be a massive moment for Fabo. He reached on catcher's interference in the second, but grounded into an inning double play in the fourth, with the Wildcats threatening. The 0-2 in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Now, if Manny Soufrain sees that ball get by the catcher Cabeza, he's coming home.
Got that steal of third a couple weekends ago. He'll break out the wheels when he has to.
1-2. Into the air, into center field, moving over Hibbler. He makes the catch on the run to end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 left. And we go to the 7th inning of play. Wildcats are on the board. It's 3-1 Jackson State here on the CatEye Network. To third, Tate to second.
Left fielder Joseph Eichelberg.
And now here's Eichelberger. 0 for 2 with a walk, struck out in the second, grounded out to third in the fourth, and then walked in the fifth. That was the last batter that Gamboa faced. This is his first time facing Dylan Vega, and after this, Vega will be one time through the order. Second and third, 1 out for Jackson State. Off the end of the bat, fouled straight back. And it's 0-1. Finish my point about the Wildcats' record: 16-13, 8-1 in the SWAC. They've only swept one series all season, and that was the one against Alabama A&M last weekend, where they were behind after the top of the first in all 3 games. They dropped 1 to Maine, 1 to Stonehill, and 1 to Florida A&M. The 3 series they won 2-1. Pitch fouled away, first base side, 1-2.
Sweeping is a really, really hard thing to do at any level of baseball. You know, you look at Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M as 2 teams you really should sweep. Everybody else, it would be a massive accomplishment to sweep anybody. It's just a hard thing to do in baseball.
1-2 in the dirt, 2-2, trying to get a swing out of Eichelberger. Joseph, the junior from Lithonia, Georgia, a transfer from Paul D. Camp Community College. The 2-2. In on the hands, ball 3, count runs full. Vega thought he got him that time. Long look in from Vega. He dangles that right arm down. Now he comes set and deals. Hit in the air to right field down the line. Moving back Rivera, and he makes the catch. He fires in. Here comes the runner, and he's safe. The throw is late, and it's 5-1 Jackson State, as tagging and scoring is Montesano.
Eichelberger got a lot more on that ball than I thought he would, flicking into the opposite field that way, even against a wind like that.
First baseman Hassan.
Jackson State threatening to put things out of reach.
Here is Hassan Standifer with the runner on third and 2 down now in the inning. This inning started with a single by Rodney Hibbler. He reached third on a throwing error by Vega, trying to pick him off at first. Breaking ball outside, 1-0. Then Montesano walked. Tate singled in Hibbler from second, or sorry, Hibbler in from third, and then the fly ball Got Montesano in. Chop foul, 1-1. We talked at the beginning of the year about the preseason rankings, right? You got Alabama State first, Bethune-Cookman second, Florida A&M third, Jackson State fourth. The 1-1. Ground ball towards second, fielded deep in the hole by Olison. He'll fire across to end the inning, and I'll continue my statement. In the bottom of the inning, 2 runs, 2 hits, and 1 error, 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's 5-1 Jackson State here on CatEye Network Radio. Wildcats need him some offense in a big way here in the bottom of the 7th. They trail Jackson State 5-1. And Ramses Cordova will lead off. He grounded into an inning-ending double play in the 2nd, struck out looking in the 5th. It is still Isaiah Williams on the hill for Jackson State, as the first pitch is a fastball outside, ball 1. 98 pitches for Williams, so he'll hit 100 this inning. And that one's popped straight up. First base side, foul territory. Standifer makes the catch. Reaches behind his head, 1 down.
I think as you see Ramses Cordova start to trot back to the Wildcats dugout, even as that ball's still in the air, just kind of indicative of how this team has kind of felt at the plate all night. Haven't done themselves any favors, really, especially as of late, gotten a little overly aggressive.
First pitch to Colton Olison is upstairs, ball 1. After seeing the longest outing of the season from Van Deventer last night, we could be on the same track here. Fouled straight back out of play by Olison. And it's 1-1 for Williams, as that was pitch number 100. That one is laced down the right field line and fair. That's going to get to the corner. Olison around first. He's going to second. He will be there with a stand-up double. And he turns and flexes to the BCU dugout. And how did Colton Olison need something like that to go his way?
The whole team did. You finally start to see a little bit of smile starting to be cracked against that dugout wall. Maybe that's enough to start to get the bats going just a little bit, or maybe even better, start to get Jackson State to think about going to that pen.
Yeah. I was about to say we could see a world where Jackson State goes to the 3rd game of this series only using 2 pitchers.
You'd think at a certain point you'd have to start getting guys work, up 4 runs, but we'll see.
Here's the first pitch to Figueroa. It's low, ball 1. And now, the Wildcats have never really had an early base runner in an inning. They've all come late with 1 or 2 outs. Let's see if Williams continues that composure. He has one of the shortest leg kicks I've ever seen in a pitcher. He barely raises his foot above the ground. He throws one outside 2-0.
You said it when we started this game off. Just one of the most relaxed overall deliveries that you'll see. Just makes it look really effortless.
Two-0. Slider catches the outside corner, 2-1. And yes, he's been locating that pitch very well, but I think that the outside corner to righties has been pretty wide tonight for both teams. 2-1. Way upstairs, missed his spot, did Williams. He takes his hat off in frustration. I thought he was going to spike his hat to the ground. But Cabeza reaches up to grab it. No harm, no foul. 3-1 to count. Williams shakes off a couple of signs, now comes set and deals. There's a strike. Fastball outside corner, 3-2. That may be the most velocity we've seen out of Williams tonight. Just went straight for power. And the full count is hit foul, third base side, and out of play. Good contact by Figueroa. Just got out a little bit in front of it. The way Williams has been able to mix up his speeds has had these Wildcat hitters seeing ghosts tonight. Once again, the full count pitch. Strike 3! Figueroa watched it in there and he knew it. And now there's 2 away.
Going to the fastball again there. You see that a lot from guys who kind of near the end of their outings, getting at the last little bit of the energy they have in the tank. It's harder and harder to locate breaking balls when you're starting to be fatigued like that. Sometimes it's easier to just reach back and try to fire a fastball in the zone.
And now 2 down. Here's Garrett Chun. First pitch to him. Breaking ball strike on the inside corner. We've talked about that slider being so deadly to left-handed hitters. It looks like it's going behind you, and then it just catches the front of the plate.
Started off a lot of batters with it tonight.
Chun fouls off the 0-1, and it's 0-2. Williams, 110 pitches. His most thrown on the season is 116. He threw that in only 6 innings against Butler. Misses badly with one, and a great step to his left by Cabeza to keep it in the dirt. 1-2 the count.
Pretty formulaic on the mound against left-handers, has Williams. Starts off slider, then goes with the hard stuff. Missed on that one.
1-2. Upstairs, went with the fastball again. 2-2. Well, if there's anybody the Wildcats are going to turn to continue an inning like this, it's Garrett Chun. He's been one of the more consistent bats BCU's had all year. Here's the 2-2 with 2 down and a runner on second. Chun fouls it away, stays alive. Wildcats down 5-1 here in the bottom of the 7th. 2-2, fouled away again. And I've noticed that the Jackson State bullpen has stopped throwing. So they're either warm as they're going to get, or they're just going to let Williams ride with it. Once again, the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Fastball outside, and Chun stretched and couldn't tap it. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the 8th. Jackson State continues to lead 5-1 here on the CatEye Network. To the 8th inning we go. Jackson State trying to increase this 5-1 lead. Dylan Vega remains on the mound for Bethune-Cookman. It'll be Miles White, the DH, to lead it off. White walked in the second, popped up to shallow left in the fifth, and then grounded out to short in the sixth. So he's looking for his first hit of the game. First pitch, fastball outside corner, strike one to the lefty from Vega. Jackson State has 8 hits. They had 8 hits all of last night, but only scored 2 runs. There's a big swing and miss as Vega goes downstairs with one, and it's 0-2. Of course, Bocabello spread those out over 8 2/3. Fouled straight back, and the count holds 0-2. We were talking during the break, Bryce, and you said it's going to need to be a pretty big mentality shift for the Wildcats between tonight and tomorrow. 1 p.m. start tomorrow, so a quick turnaround. Inside and low, 1-2.
They've just looked so different than the team that came out swinging last night. I don't know if it's complacency or what, but haven't looked the same.
1-2, check swing, no swing, and the pitch is outside, 2-2. Miles White batting .288. The junior from Mobile, Alabama, watches a breaking ball downstairs, and it's 3-2. After Vegas started off with 2 quick strikes, he has not been able to finish White off. The payoff pitch, fouled away, will do it again. As this game crosses the 2-hour mark. We appreciate your company on this Saturday evening on the east coast of Florida. Pitch. Outside, ball 4. Leadoff man aboard for Jackson State. I mean, a nice at-bat if you're Miles White, but if you're Dylan Vega, that's a tough one to let get away from you. And here's the 9-hole hitter, Letty Alvarez.
It's just kind of been a difference between these two teams tonight. That's the kind of a bat that the Wildcats have continued to free swing, haven't been able to foul balls off. Either been, easy fly balls, easy ground outs, or more often than not strikeouts. Whereas Jackson State out here battling, staying alive, working a walk. With a large part of why we've seen the vast difference in mentality from two teams tonight.
Colton Olison went over to chat to Dylan Vega on the mound. Took about 25 seconds, tapped him on the back, then went back to second base. Alvarez, flying out to left in the second, was hit by a pitch and scored the first run of the game for Jackson State back in the 5th, and flied out to center in the 6th. And the first pitch from Vega. He squares to bunt, taps it down the first base side. Soufrain fields underhands to the covering Colton Olison in time. And the runner moves over to second.
Their headfirst dive from Alvarez there. Jackson State, the kind of athletic team, gone to it a couple times just tonight. It's something you don't see a lot. Really love guys doing that. Set you up for injury.
Top of the order here is Jordan McCloudy starting the 5th rotation for Jackson State tonight. 1 down runner at second here in the 8th. Tigers have a 5-1 lead. First pitch from Vega to the lefty. He skies one deep and foul down the left field line. There haven't really been a lot of hard hit balls tonight. Yes, the wind is blowing in from center at a decently quick rate, but everything elevated has been mostly an easy fly ball for both teams. Most of the damage has been done line drives and ground balls. There's a line drive right to Cordova at second. And having to dive back to second base is Miles White. There's 2 down.
White nearly got in the way of that ball. But in trying to hustle back to second base, allowed Cordova enough space to make the play. Thought he might try a swipe at him, try to get the tag, but he's just a couple feet in front of him. Couldn't quite reach him.
That's a nice play by Cordova. It was a really hard hit ball. Had to make a couple steps to his right. Was shielded by the runner a little bit. And now here's Rodney Hibbler with 2 down. First pitch to him is a slider that tails away into the outside batter's box, 1-0. Hibbler bunted sacrifice style in the first, flying out to center in the 3rd, and then had a 2 RBI double and scored himself in the 5th, singled and scored in the 7th. Pitch inside, 2-0. He was also the beneficiary of the throwing error by Vega over to first on a pickoff attempt that let him get all the way to third. Two zero. Breaking ball inside catches the zone. 2-1.
It's a nice pitch right there. Not a whole lot you can do with that late bite on that breaking ball on the lower inside corner. Got to be really quick with your hands to even try to get around that one.
See if he goes back to it. Here's the 1-2. He goes outside, gets a swing and miss from Hibbler, who had no idea what he was doing with that one.
I don't think he's got any idea what's coming here. You can do a whole lot after back-to-back breaking balls. He went inside, he went outside. Maybe he'll go to some hard stuff here, but you got options.
2-2. He does go for the breaking ball again, misses it low, count runs full.
It's in the same spot that was offered at a pitch ago. Don't mind going back to it.
3-2, 2 down. Vega's got to find the strike zone here. Pitch. He does! Strike 3. Inside corner. Hibbler doesn't like it, but he's rung up, and that's the end of the inning. No runs, no hits, and one left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It is 5-1 Tigers here on the CatEye Network. Sergio Rivera will lead off the bottom of the 8th for BCU with Isaiah Williams still stuck on the mound for Jackson State. 117 pitches deep into this appearance. First pitch, slider, strike 1. It is now officially his longest outing of the season. He went 116 pitches in 6 full innings against Butler in a win earlier this season. That's a breaking ball low 1-1. Rivera bunted out in the first pitch. At the knees, fastball strike 1-2. Then flied out to center in the third and to right in the 6th. Rivera winds and fires. It could be Williams rides and fires and hits it on the inside leg. That's been the one issue with Williams' game tonight. He has hit 3 batters.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any stirring over there from Coach Johnson in the Jackson State dugout. You'd like to think if there's another base runner that will change. Or maybe it will change right now.
Well, Coach Omar is going to walk out to talk with his pitcher. It may have been, one base runner and you're done type of deal. We've seen Coach Hernandez employ that a fair bit this season. But if this is the end for Isaiah Williams, what a start. Ray is 156, and he is the star of this Jackson State bullpen, has the lowest ERA of anybody on this staff by a large margin.
Jackson State trying to make sure they lock down this one. You might look at it and say the way the Wildcats have been swinging the bat, it's a little bit out of reach, but they're making sure they secure a series split here. But we'll see. I mean, the Wildcats have rallied at times, even against the best relief arms on staff. Just the change of pace has been enough to make a difference, and Looking at the schedule of Jackson State, they haven't played a whole lot of, teams with a ton of offensive firepower. So we'll see here what BCU can manage.
Lewis is a right-hander, throws sidearm almost submarine. He's from Bloomington, Illinois, and a transfer from Toledo. And the first pitch gets away from the catcher. A long throw to second is into center field, and it's a stolen base for Sergio Rivera. That was a little adventure.
Credit Letty Alvarez there for backing up the shortstop on that throw. If he's not 3, 4, 5 feet behind the throw there, that ball's out into center field, and you'll see an extra base
Because
for
that ball
Rivera.
got by Cabeza, and it looked like he was doing a shot put, just heaved it towards second. So now runner on second, 1-0 count to Gonzalez. Here's the pitch. It's outside, missed with a fastball, 2-0. And if I'm Gonzalez, I think I'm taking until I get one. Just proved it, that he can throw strikes. It is a cold evening as the temperatures dropped after the sun's gone down. Pitch. There's a ball low, 3-0. Started out at around 65 degrees at first pitch. The temperatures nodded off down into the 50s. Here's the 3-0 from Lewis. Outside, ball 4, and a 4-pitch walk to Jose Gonzalez. So the first two Wildcats reach via the free pass in the inning, and that'll bring up Manny Sufrain.
Now we see that formula that Coach Hernandez tells us about so often coming into play. Get to the bullpen and do your work there. Even though it's later than the Wildcats would want it to come, being able to take that quick walk, shake the confidence a little bit on the mound, and just keep the line moving. That's exactly what this Wildcats team is trying to do day in and day out.
Sufrain popped out to shallow left his first time up, walked and was caught in the middle of a double play in the fourth, and then singled in the infield in the sixth. First pitch to him. There's a fastball strike, and it's 0-1. Sufrain actually had the first hit of the game for the Wildcats back in the sixth inning. Just a dribbler off the pitcher's glove that he couldn't recover. 0-1. Outside, 1-1. That's the first time we've seen Lewis go for an off-speed pitch. It's got a little teardrop, I'll call it a curve, but it doesn't really break laterally that much. 1-1. Ground ball off the pitcher's glove and towards second base. Sufrain trying to leg it out. He is out by half a step. A great job by Alvarez at second to recover after the ball went off the pitcher's glove. Deja vu style from Manny Sufrain. But it works almost like a sac bunt. It'll move the runners over, so now second and third with one down.
That ball's hit a little bit harder than his last infield single, so he had to still hustle very much down the line. Thought he gave a run at it, but I think the right call over there at first.
So now Rivera on third, Gonzalez on second, and here is Jorge Rodriguez. Wildcats down 5-1 here, bottom of the eighth. Pitch from Lewis. Breaking ball into the zone. That looked like a decent pitch to hit if you're Rodriguez. If he throws that one again, expect that one to be hit hard somewhere.
Don't have to try to be a hero here either. If you can get to the ninth inning and you're only down a couple of runs, that's a big win.
0-1 from Lewis. In the dirt, ball 1. He has not been the most accurate since coming on to pitch as C.J. Lewis.
It's kind of yanking pitches a little bit, especially on that outside edge.
Second and third, here's the pitch. Chop foul, first base side, and it's 1-2. He threw that breaking ball again. Rodriguez was way out in front of it and just managed to grab a piece. Lewis with that right arm dangling down to get the signal. Now he comes set and from the stretch. Outside, ball 2. You're right. He's over-rotating and reaching, especially on the fastball. The breaking ball, his release point is a little bit higher, so he's allowing it to spin a little bit more.
They're still setting up way outside. That pitch, the catcher was set up way outside, and they're going to set up outside again.
2-2 in the dirt, ball 3.
just kind of not sure I love that strategy there. They're continuing to try to get him to just nip that corner a little bit, but he really hasn't shown anywhere close, and yet they continue to try to fire it in there until it works.
The full count delivery upcoming. Lewis to Rodriguez. Here's the pitch. Swing and a foul straight back. Again, he went back to the breaking ball, and Rodriguez is just a little bit in front of it.
I also think he was expecting one a little bit lower in the zone. That one was closer to middle, and so he was a little bit underneath it.
Once again, the 3-2. One out, second and third here in the 8th. The pitch. Popped sky high on the infield. Moving over the first baseman, Standifer makes the catch, and that's about the most unproductive at-bat you could ask for if you're the Wildcats. And now there's 2 down.
Yep, similar pitch there. Goes even higher than the pitch before it. Rodriguez guessing another pitch low in the zone, and he gets all the way underneath it and can't do anything but pop it up.
We'll have a pinch hitter here for Bethune-Cookman as Jorge Gonzalez-Febo's night is done. This is Michael Rodriguez, the freshman. He's a left-hand hitter, and he has had some week. Art Johnson's going to trot out to talk to his pitcher. Do you think they make a change here?
He pointed to the bullpen. It's going to be a change.
Wow. So not a lot of trust for C.J. Lewis. His night is done after seeing only 3 batters, walking one, ground out, and pop out. And the Tigers will go to the bullpen again.
And I think Lewis was set up to fail a little bit, and I see that mostly in George Rodriguez's last AB. Just he's shown from the very first pitch he threw that he's not going to be able to locate on the lower half of the plate like that. Not going to be able to pinpoint spots, and yet pitch in and pitch out. They're trying to force it into that bottom corner. You finally saw him start to work up in the zone a little bit, and it fooled BCU batters. So I don't think the approach was necessarily great from a pitch calling standpoint, but now you're going to see kind of one of those moves. If the Wildcats are still able to score a couple of runs here, make it a ball game heading into the ninth, you could start to question the decision to go to the pen a little bit here.
And it is a familiar name on the mound. Christian Womble, who we saw a lot last year, especially in the SWAC tournament, where he was the pitcher that gave up that walk-off single that allowed Bethune-Cookman to stay alive in the tournament on day 2, when it almost looked for all the world like the Wildcats were about to go home.
The guy they've seen a lot, of course, not one that Michael Rodriguez had the pleasure of facing, or Ramses Cordova behind him. But no doubt there's some scouting advantage there, having seen him pitch a handful of times. But this is a guy with a lot of experience for Jackson State, a lot of experience pitching against BCU, pitching in the SWAC. Maybe if nothing else, that's the decision to put him in this game, a guy who's been there, composure, prioritized above all else.
And he's been a starter this season, Womble. 100 pitches twice, and has gone 5+ innings 4 times, but has been used out of the bullpen mostly this month. 1 inning against Mississippi Valley State, 2 of their 3 games of the series, then 2 1/3 against Florida A&M last weekend. He's pitched 36 innings this season, giving up 22 runs on 32 hits, 20 earned, striking out 35 and walking 23. His ERA is 5 flat. And now here's Michael Rodriguez, the freshman from out of Pembroke Pines and West Briar High School. And he has had some week, Rodriguez, and he is looking to continue it right here. This will be a lefty to righty matchup. And the first pitch, way outside 1-0. Against UCF, he had 1 pinch hit at bat in the 9th and lined a single to right field off of the UCF closer. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, 1-1. And then against Florida State, he got his first collegiate start and had 2 hits and a run in 4 at-bats up in Tallahassee.
Good way to force the issue as a freshman. Get yourself some ABs.
1-1. There's a strike at the knees, and it's 1-2. 2 outs. Runners on second and third for the Wildcats after consecutive free passes to begin the inning. And this is the third Jackson State pitcher of the frame as well, but they still haven't given up a run.
It's not blowing away again.
The 1-2 is low and away, but it's ball 2.
Ever since going to the bullpen, that's all they've done. Everything has been set up low and away, and when it's not been low and away, it's because spots have been missed. These guys haven't been able to necessarily find consistent success in the zone with those
Time
pitches.
is called by Rodriguez, looking for another big hit in this freshman season. Only his 8th at-bat of the year. Someone who figures to play into this Bethune-Cookman lineup for years to come. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside 3-2. And again, low and away. It's every pitch.
And it's not, guys aren't missing spots. They're set up down there. They're just trying to pick a corner, scared of going anywhere else. Kind of akin to how the Wildcats have gone nowhere but inside on the Tigers.
3-2. Ball in the dirt. And Rodriguez draws a walk. So now the bases are loaded, and the batter will be Ramses Cordova. Cordova 0 for 3, grounded it into a double play in the second, struck out in the 5th. Well, we're going to have another pinch hitter. So,
Pitch hitting for the Wildcats, number 4, Peter Vasquez. Vasquez, pitch hitting for the Cats.
it'll be Peter Vasquez batting in the 8th spot for Ramses Cordova. With the bases loaded, we're also going to have a pinch runner here for Rodriguez. The pinch runner at first is Xavier Cintrone.
Your attention, please. Pinch running at first base for the Wildcats, number 9, Xavier Centron.
Rivera on first, Gonzalez on second, Cintrone on first, and the batter is Peter Vasquez, who has played third off and on this season. The first pitch gets to the backstop. Here comes Rivera from third. He is safe as he beats the throw. The Wildcats have scored their second run, and it's 5-2.
I think the throw was there in time, but it was a really nice job by Rivera to sneak his hand in, get as low to the ground as possible. So Womble had to go all the way down to get him, snuck the hand in before he was able to apply the tag.
So now it's 5-2. And there's runners on second and third. Still 2 outs for Peter Vasquez. The junior from Puerto Rico. Pitch outside. 2-0. The pitch. In the dirt. 3-0.
Isaiah Williams survived all day by challenging guys, keeping balls in the zone, coming at hitters. The bullpen has done none of that. So you kind of get what you deserve if you're continuing to try to hit corners when it's not working.
The pitch, right down the middle, 3-1. Vasquez on the season is a 279 hitter. He started the last 12 games in a row before tonight. Swing and a high pop, left field. Eichelberger has it tracked. He moves in, he makes the catch. And the Wildcats are held again to just 1. 1 run, no hits, 2 left. And we go to the 9th inning, 5-2, Jackson State here on the CatEye Network. As we go to the ninth, a couple of defensive substitutions for the Wildcats. Peter Vasquez replaces Jorge Gonzalez-Febo at third. Frankie Feblis replaces Ramses Cordova at second. And the new pitcher is Aaron Schaefer for Bethune-Cookman. He's making only his second appearance of the season. Pitched 1 inning against Alabama A&M in the Sunday game last week. Gave up 1 run on 2 hits in his 1 inning of work. And it'll be Lenny Montesano, the first man to face him. Montesano singled in the first, singled in the second, but was caught stealing in a rundown, was intentionally walked in the fifth, and walked and scored in the seventh. And the first pitch to him from Schaefer is a ball outside. Schaefer's got this, I almost want to call it Tim Lincecum-esque windup, where he reaches way far back behind him, almost like a spring-loaded windup toy to fire it in. He has a lot of velocity. Here's the 1-0. There's a fastball lifted in the air to right center field. Racing in Rivera. He makes the catch, 1 down.
Schaefer's a guy who they expect to get quality innings out of the later we get into the season. He's dealt with some off-the-field waiver things early in the season, trying to get onto the field. But as they've gotten resolved, they start to get worked in a little more and more.
Here's the first pitch to Robert Tate Jr., and a breaking ball finds the zone for strike 1. Tate popped out to shallow left in the first, singled on the infield in the fourth, struck out in the fifth, and then singled in the seventh. He gets a ground ball towards second. Olesen fields and fires 2 away. And that'll bring up Sebastian Cabeza.
Now batting, catcher number 12, Sebastian Cabeza.
Cabeza has been out on the infield 3 times. Grounded to the first base side in the first. 2 bunt outs, 1 to the pitcher, 1 to the third baseman, and then to the fifth had a single that scored 2 runs. That made the score at the time 3-0. And the first pitch to him is a breaking ball, low, ball 1. The 1-0. Hit in the air down the left field line. That will go foul onto the top of the clubhouse down the left field line. And as we get towards the end of this long homestand, as the Wildcats always have at the beginning of the year with the Tortugas not around yet, got to get as many home games as you can in before we have to start working around their schedule. It feels like we're towards the end of the season. Pitch, fastball, strike on the inside corner, 1-2 to Cabeza. It feels like we're almost toward the end of the season, but we're really not. This is game 30 tonight, so we were only about slightly over halfway done. A lot of baseball left to be played. 1-2. Breaking ball just misses low, and it's 2-2.
Plenty of big series left to be played,
including rematches with everybody we've seen here so far and the teams to come here that we haven't seen yet. Valley, Alabama State. 2-2. Hit in the air, foul territory, first base side. That'll make the seats. And the count holds 2-2 to Cabeza. And every conference game crucial, but more so against the teams in the top 4. Like this Jackson State team, the 2-2. Outside 3-2, missed with the fastball. Jackson State scored 3 in the 5th and 2 in the 7th. And they're hanging on to a 5-2 lead. Here, top of the 9th, 2 outs, nobody on. Against the righty Aaron Schaefer. Pitch. Fastball, swing and a miss. Got him with the high cheese. And Schaefer gets the Tigers to go 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Wildcats down by 3, 5-2 here on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Wildcats down by 3. It'll be the 9-hole hitter Colton Olison to lead off. He ripped a double to right center field his last time up. In his 2 previous at-bats, he flied out to center twice. He's made hard contact every time. This is his first time seeing Christian Womble, and he sees a fastball inside ball 1. Womble, the third of 3 pitchers used in the last inning. Williams started it off. Pitch low, called a strike, and it's 1-1. Then they went to C.J. Lewis for 3 batters, and then Womble finished off the last 2. Breaking ball popped sky high on the infield. The second baseman Alvarez calls off, and he dropped it. He tripped over the second base bag and dropped the ball.
Lucky break. That's the kind of thing that they haven't seen kind of the gaff like that to this point, but the Wildcats have had their fair share of gaffes from Jackson State, especially in the early goings, and haven't been able to put anything across. If you want to put it all behind you, you've got given a gift.
Top of the order, here's Daniel Figueroa. Womble nods and deals. Breaking ball right down the middle, strike 1. That drop fly ball was the 4th error of the game for Jackson State. Spinning a throwback to first Olison in there. It has not been the cleanest game for the Tigers, and if the Wildcat offense had anything for Isaiah Williams for most of this game, we might be talking about a completely different outcome here. Here's the 0-1. That's grounded towards second, into the glove, on to first, and it gets away! And out of bounds, it's going to be 1 out. Olison's out at second as Tate, the shortstop, took it himself, and then he spiked his throw to first into the Jackson State dugout.
Batter, left fielder number 34, Gary.
It's been an adventure really all series for Jackson State to this point. Kind of a frustrating team to watch, but still in the driver's seat for this one. But that's what makes this so much more frustrating of an outcome for Bethune-Cookman should the score hold as it is.
Yep, 5th error on the night. That'll be a fielder's choice and an error for Figueroa. And now here's Garrett Shun, who is 0 for 4 with strikeouts in his last 2 plate appearances. Pitch. Outside ball 1, missed with the fastball to Womble. Christian, a senior this year from Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And a Cloud County Community College transfer from 2 years ago. Pitch. Fouled straight back, and it's 1-1. Garrett's one of those guys, if you look around the order and ask me to pick someone to go for 4, Garrett is not one of the ones I would have picked. And sometimes that's baseball. The 1-1. Ground ball, hard hit, but fouled just outside of third, and it's 1-2. Wildcats are seeing Womble decently well. They're getting contact.
It's got that breaking ball that has just kind of a short little vertical drop and pretty early on in its delivery to the plate.
Outside corner called ball 2. 2-2 the count. Jackson State up 5-2 here, bottom of the ninth. Trying to tie this series with Bethune-Cookman, who won 6-2 yesterday. And you mentioned it earlier. This is basically a mirror of the game that we played last night. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a foul ball into the river on the left-hand side. Count holds.
And just about everything is flipped in this game from last night. The only thing that's remained consistent is Jackson State is a sloppy baseball team, especially defensively.
Long look in from Womble to Garrett Shun. With the wind blowing hard in from center, he finally gets the pitch he wants. He waits and he looks in again. Now he comes set. And deals the 2-2. Swing and a foul away from Shun, right back to the screen. He barely stays alive. Infield playing towards second base. There's a gap between first and second, but Womble misses his spot outside, and the count runs full. So the gaps in the infield are just to the left-hand side of second and between the first and second baseman. The second baseman, Alvarez, is playing right close to the bag. Here's the pitch. Fouled away again. And over the grandstands. Long at bat here from Garrett Chun. Womble up to 16 pitches in his 2/3 of an inning so far. Pitch. Inside. Ball gets away from the catcher. Figueroa going to third. No throw over there, and it's ball 4. So now runners on the corners for Bethune-Cookman.
And you talk about that mirror of last night's game. Well, just like last night for Jackson State, here comes the tying run to the plate.
Batting right fielder number 19, Sergio Rivera.
And it's Sergio Rivera. Runners on the corners. 1 down. Wildcats down 5-2. As Christian Womble will look in, Cabeza will give some instructions to the infield. Corner infielders playing way in, toes on the grass. Almost as if they're expecting a bunt here. But it's a swing and a chopper foul the third base side. Now with no outs, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bunt. With 1 out, down 3, I don't think they will. But because the corner infielders are playing so far in, that does leave some space for a ground ball to sneak through. Pitch, breaking ball misses outside, 1-1.
Rivera, one of the few guys on this team that can bunt his way to a base hit, too. So I think that's where you see the extra little bit of caution from those corner infielders.
Womble from the stretch. There's a fastball strike right down the middle, 1-2. That's a tough layoff if you're Sergio Rivera. Catcher sets up outside. Here's the pitch from Womble. It is in the opposite batter's box, 2-2. We've mentioned it a couple times, this praxis of just throw low and away and hope they're swinging some garbage pitches. Now the 2-2. Came upstairs and in, and he missed. 3-2.
Well, credit to the Wildcats order here. Working counts, staying in at bats, defensive hitting. Not making it easy.
Womble deals the full count delivery. Spiked it to the plate. The ball gets away. And it's a score from third for Daniel Figueroa. And it's 5-3. Another walk puts runners on first and second.
Speed of this Wildcats team. Speed kills. Steal a run there. 2 guys on the base paths. One of, if not your best hitter to this point this year at the plate. Will we see another call to the pen?
We might, because here comes Omar Johnson. He's going to call the entire infield in to talk. Jose Gonzalez has been on base all 4 times tonight, but he does not have a hit. He reached on an error in the second, and then 3 straight walks. And he did score the first run for the Wildcats back in the 6th on the single by Jorge Rodriguez.
And, you know, we talked when Isaiah Williams was still on the mound about, well, how long are they going to continue to ride him? How long of a leash will he have? And I think now you see the reason that he's a guy that's lived over 100 pitches for a vast majority of his starts of this year is when you get to the bullpen of this Jackson State team, much like many SWAC teams across this conference, it's pretty hit or miss, and a lot of times it's a miss. And to this point, nobody's really looked that impressive out of that Jackson State pen to this point. They'll leave Womble in to try to figure it out. But maybe if nothing else, that's because they don't have a whole lot of trust in the guy who's next up.
5-3, Bethune-Cookman down. Figueroa in on the wild pitch from Womble. First and second, 1 out. First pitch, swing and a line drive into center field. There's a base hit. Garrett Chun on his way to the plate. The throw is cut off. Chun scores. It's 5-4. RBI single for Gonzalez.
Man, it's one of those things you look at as looks like we will see a call to the pen now for Jackson State is, well, where was this all night? But Coach Hernandez has preached to us all year long that it's get to the bullpen, get to the bullpen, get to the bullpen. And so maybe the only issue tonight was you didn't do that quick enough, because the second they've done what they set out to do, get to that bullpen, the tide has shifted.
Yep. It's going to be another call to the pen for Jackson State. And I know C.J. Lewis was having a little bit of trouble on his fastball, spiking it a little bit. But he looked effective with the breaking ball. The Wildcats had a tough time hitting it, right? They grounded into an out, and then they popped up and out. So I don't really understand the quick hook for Lewis back in the last inning.
And again, I think with that, I talked about it a little bit when he headed off the mound is, well, part of his problem was they kept setting up low and away every time and just really pushing him to hit that corner. And he couldn't do it, and he was walking guys as a result, and it never got any easier. So if you're going to set your guy up to fail like that, you can't expect a whole lot of difference. You saw him in his last batter, I believe, before he headed out. He started low and then went up in the zone, and he forced that pop out. And so maybe if you saw a little bit more of that, then he stays in this game longer, and we're talking about a different ball game. But the bottom line is the game was called a certain way. He couldn't work with the game plan that was given to him on the mound, and you had to take him out. And so now it's see who can stabilize things.
Yep. It is Arjun Huerta, and I apologize if I butchered that. Arjun Huerta, the senior from Williamstad, Curaçao, and a transfer from McGook Community College. This season, I don't know if he's appeared this season. I will check the team stats. His individual stats only show 2022 stats. This is his first appearance on the mound this season.
Heck of a spot to do it. So he's appeared in games
as a hitter,
but not on the mound.
So he has 8 games played. He's batting 143 and slugging 250. I'm not sure that's going to help him right now, because he is on the mound as a lefty pitcher to face Manny Sufrain, with the tying run being Sergio Rivera on second, the potential winning run, Jose Gonzalez on first. Huerta, a tall, lanky lefty, listed at 6'1", and he deals. Breaking ball misses inside. That was a hefty break on that curve, just couldn't find the zone with it.
It wouldn't shock me if this is Huerta's only batter, regardless of what happens, based on the fact that he hasn't appeared yet. Could be a lefty specialist sort of thing.
The 1-0 goes for that curveball again in the zone. 1-1. And then that big looping curveball seems like a pop-up magnet. And that's probably what he's reaching for here. 1-1. Curveball, check swing, fouled away by Sufrain. And this may be a kind of Highland Hall situation from last year, right? Where he was your everyday left fielder, but also made 3 appearances on the mound.
I just think it's interesting to watch the way this AB has started from a guy in Sufrain that has been worked away his entire season. Guys have not challenged him inside, but Huerta's immediately gone to that breaking ball inside for all 3 pitches thus far. And so again, we're going to see Coach CatEye talk it over with Manny Sufrain, kind of go over that approach at the plate. But that's why I wouldn't be surprised as an arm continues to warm in the Jackson State pen if maybe it's just a lefty-on-lefty situation. This guy has shown the knack for getting lefties out. He's got a big one to get out now.
Sufrain, after the timeout, stands back in. The count is 1-2. Huerta. From the stretch, winds and fires. Upstairs, almost hits Sufrain in the head. And it's 2-2. That time he went for the fastball, and he looked like his release point for that was the same as his curveball, so it never dropped. Now the 2-2. And that's a line drive into right field. Base hit. Coming home is Rivera. Here's the throw to the plate. Rivera is safe as the throw is cut off. It's tied at 5. Manny Sufrain ties it.
After going inside, one finally leaks out over the heart of the plate. And we've said it, that breaking ball doesn't have a whole lot on it. It's got everything, every piece of being that hanger. And that was a pretty easy one for Soufrian to take out the other way. And now what do you do if you're Coach Johnson? He hasn't made a move to this point, but
the winning run is potentially on third. A.J. Smith, is that him who's going to pitch run at first? No. And Manny Soufrian gets a massive welcome back to the dugout. It's going to be Jamie Villafane pinch running at first.
Pinch hitting for the Wildcats, number 22, Irvin.
Now you're one pitch away from erasing what has to this point been a miserable night at the plate.
It's
that
Irvin Escobar at the plate. He's been in this situation once already this year, and he struck out with the bases loaded down by one. First pitch to him, he squares to bunt. It's upstairs, ball one. The winning run is Jose Gonzalez. He's on third, 90 feet away. Jamie Villafane is on first after pinch running from Manny Soufrian, who had an RBI single. The pitch to Escobar. He swings and misses at the breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Remember, there's only one out, so if Escobar doesn't ground into a double play, we will see another batter.
Which also means all you got to do is put one in the air.
Villafane is just going to go to second. They're going to let him have it.
That's a wise move there.
Well, that takes away the double play.
That's the advantage of having that double steal back there. Jackson State knows if they try to go for the steal, the Wildcats are going to threaten there, but now no double play.
Squares to bunt. It is foul ball as it's back to the screen. So now Escobar down 1-2. I'm not sure why bunt here because the play is at 4 every day of the week. I'm not sure he's going to bunt now on a 1-2 count. Infield, all 4 infielders are on the grass, knowing that the play is at home. Huerta in a massive spot. The senior. He goes back to third. The ball gets away. Running home is Jose Gonzalez. He walks it off. This one belongs to the maroon and gold. It's an improbable, unreal, unbelievable comeback as the light show happens for win number 100 in the career of Coach Hernandez.
So you said it way early on in the broadcast tonight, Mike, that how many games in his 100 wins have we seen Coach Hernandez do so via the little tinkering, that the pinch hitters, the steals like that, the small ball, and I mean, what a way to get one. I mean, that we saw the ball is thrown away, threatening the steal. We saw earlier in the season a similar play that resulted in a balk. This time it resulted in the ball thrown away. The runner runs into the third baseman, which thought maybe that would affect the play a little bit, but he goes right around.
See, here's right. Our PA, Brian Harvey, just said it, right? 6 errors, and the game fittingly ends on an error.
As I tried to, concoct that post-game speech for when it looked like the game was going to break the other way, I was going to lead with it's really hard to win a ball game when you have 5 errors as a team, and now that results in 6 errors, the last of which is the backbreaker. It's Jackson State has come into this series sloppy all around. They're a frisky team. They're an athletic team. They're one that can put that pressure on. But now they all sit there with hands on their head, baffled by what just happened. And it shouldn't be surprising. If you're going to come out and play that kind of baseball, lackluster on the base pass, allowing a smart base running team in the Wildcats to take advantage so many times, this is how ball games like that end. And it's on Jackson State. The Wildcats came out and won this game. Make no mistake about it. But Jackson State did themselves no favors.
In the 9th for Bethune-Cookman, 3 runs on 2 hits and 2 errors, and the last one, the backbreaker, as you said. So let me paint that picture, because I think what actually happened on that play kind of got lost in the jubilation a little bit. Huerta, the righty pitcher, no, he's a lefty pitcher. The lefty pitcher spun and threw to third because Gonzalez had a really big lead. He was almost halfway home, and I think if that's a better throw, he's out.
Well, it wasn't just a lead. He full on bluffed a steal. He went for home. He took a good 2 steps before hustling back, and I think you're right. I think he would have been out if that ball is in the glove.
But Huerta threw it to the feet of Montesano at third. Montesano couldn't come up with it. It got behind him, behind the coach's box, behind the play. And then as Gonzalez is breaking for home and Montesano is breaking for the ball. They run into each other. They both fall down. Rivera gets up first, and before someone is able to go pick up the ball, he sprints home for the win. A bit of a crazy play, and I think even if he had been thrown out at home, he might have been called safe on interference because it was a full-on, almost like football tackle. I'm sure not intentional by any means, but like I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's certainly a wild way to get number 100. I think the coolest part of that play was as Gonzalez wasn't even maybe a quarter of the way to the plate yet. You saw the massive fist pump from Coach Hernandez in the third base coaching box, knowing he stole one tonight. It was as unbelievable a win as it gets. Credit to the Wildcats, never giving up. You know, you looked at it after a handful of innings, maybe that they had kind of given up. They had kind of thrown in the towel a little bit. We're kind of coasting to the finish line, just trying to go home, get ready for tomorrow. And wow,
And lost in all of that is the first win in a BCU uniform for Aaron Schaefer. He comes on, he gets 3 outs, he picks up the win.
he looked good too. A guy, like I said, is hopefully figures to be a part of the pen in an expanded role as he gets more and more in-game action. But yeah, steals one tonight.
We will hear from Coach Hernandez in a moment. He just put his batting helmet in the dugout, is walking towards our broadcast position. Once again, the Wildcats in the 9th inning, 4 runs, 2 hits, 2 errors, and the last one, the backbreaker, as Huerta, the pitcher, throws the ball away, allowing Jose Gonzalez to score the winning run from home plate. Your final line score is Bethune-Cookman, 6 runs on 5 hits. They made 1 error. Jackson State, 5 runs on 8 hits. They made, crucially, 6 errors. And the Wildcats steal one 6-5. They go to 17-13 on the season, 9-1 in conference play. Jackson State falls to 20-10, and their conference record is now even at 5-5. And fresh off of that wild one, we're joined by Coach Hernandez here on the CatEye Network postgame show. Coach, in 100 wins at Bethune-Cookman, I don't think there's been a more wild one than that.
Yeah, I mean, this is just attributed to the hard work of the student athletes that I've had the, benefit of coaching throughout my time here, at Bethune-Cookman and the assistant coaches all along the way with all the changes that, we've had on the coaching staff with coaches taking other jobs. And also, man, everything that we've been through as a